What's up, Beezies? Welcome back to the podcast, Avarice Trading Channel. Today, the movie commentary we're going to be doing is the movie Go from 1999. I think that it has a bit of a cult following, but to my knowledge, it's not that well known. So, you may or may not have seen it. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and pause this and go watch it. If you're that interested, I mean, I'll do a fair job of commenting on it and giving it its due during the podcast, but it's definitely not going to be a substitute for actually watching the movie. So if you haven't seen it, I would recommend that you probably pause this and go ahead and watch it, unless you're confident that you'll still be interested in watching it after listening to the podcast. It's another movie along the lines of Very Bad Things. Kind of Very Bad Things mixed with a Tarantino movie almost. So, it's one of those movies where there's just kind of mounting consequences and issues. Stuff just keeps going wrong. The characters can't seem to do anything right, and it's just kind of a downward spiral. It's a dark comedy, black comedy, dark humor, whatever you want to call it. But also the Tarantino aspect is that it shows you a storyline from one person's point of view, and then it goes back to the beginning of that storyline and shows you the exact same thing from a different person's point of view. And it kind of pieces it together, and so you get to see it from all these different angles and see what this person was thinking during that moment and what that person was thinking during that moment, and see what was going on behind the closed door when the one person couldn't tell, but then now you're from this person's point of view and they're on the other side of the door. And just unique, kind of toying with the sequence and the story like that. I don't think... Shit. Sorry. So I have just made my cup of coffee. I've already got a bowl loaded sitting out there on the table waiting for me. So once I'm done with this, I will go out there and hit the bowl, and then we will start the movie. If you've never listened before, I play a movie. You'll be able to slightly hear it in the background, but not enough to be able to rely on it for you to follow along with the movie. That's not really the intent. There's kind of a couple different ways you could go about this. You could listen to the podcast and watch the movie and have the movie muted so that it's as if I'm commenting directly over it. You can see what I'm talking about. It'll give you the best understanding of what I'm referring to, etc. But you can also listen to it just standalone audio without the movie. And I try to make my comments and what I talk about not be so tied to the visual image you're seeing on the screen that you have to see it. I try to make it a standalone thing and at least describe what I'm seeing enough that you don't have to watch it. That was way more verbose of an explanation than I intended to give. Sometimes you don't, I don't ever have any of this like thought out ahead of time or written down. So when I'm just trying to think of it off the top of my head, it doesn't always come out as smooth or as eloquent as I would like. The economy of words isn't always there. Whatever, shit's gonna happen. So another thing that I'm going to be trying to do is put out a new video on my YouTube channel every day. And then so that would equate to a podcast 3 or 4 days a week for the podcast only listeners. But for YouTube, that would be a commentary or a review video every single day on my YouTube channel. And that is the new model I'm going for and what I hope to achieve. So that starts with recording this today. So if you are going to watch along, go ahead and get that ready. If you're going to smoke some of the devil's cabbage, go ahead and do so right now, as that is what I am going to do. As soon as I can locate my lighter. This movie has a pretty deep ensemble cast, actually. It's got Katie Holmes in it, Jay Moore, Josh Wolf. I saw in the credits that Melissa McCarthy's in it, but I don't remember her character. I'll have to take a look at that. Taye Diggs is in it. And this is just a movie that sticks out to me from my youth and my childhood. I remember watching this movie, and it just kind of, you know how certain movies, you watch them that one time and they're just stuck in your craw from then on. You can't even really explain what you like that much about them. They're just there. They're just in your library. They're a staple. That's how Go is for me. And Go is rare enough that I still own my DVD Go. Years back, I got rid of almost all my physical media collection, VHSs, DVDs. I sold it all on Craigslist in one big lump thing. But I held a few back that I was worried I would have trouble finding either digitally or on Blu-ray, etc. in the future, and Go was one of those. That was probably a little bit naive because I just looked and you can rent it on Amazon Prime. So it is available. It's not entirely closed off. But it was something I was worried about. I do have another one. Well, we won't get into all that shit. Let's get ready to start the movie. I'm just talking and talking and talking here. So, I will give you a countdown and then I'll push play. So I'm pushing play in 3, 2, 1, play. And it's got a buffer like usual. Here we go. So you can probably hear the sound in the background and you know if you're queued up or not. So if you've never seen this before, it's essentially just like a crazy kind of party, crime-filled, chaotic night that all these different friends go through. And it's just broken up into little segments and you get to see their different paths that they went down. It's nothing particularly profound. It doesn't cover a lot of deep ground. It's just kind of a fun, almost like this weird acid trip kind of movie. No, I wouldn't go that far acid trip. Breckin Meyer. I forgot about Breckin Meyer. Timothy Olyphant. Yep. Sarah Polley. Don't know what she did after this. This scene that's going on right here is just exactly what a rave looked like in the late 90s, early 2000s. I've seen from a distance this type of environment. It was never my type of deal. I was never my scene. I was never hanging out at raves listening to EDM. Ooh, Katie Holmes. We have no context for what she's talking about. We just saw that rave. So then you're showing her, she's glowing. She looks so excited. She's talking to somebody. She seems to be very happy about whatever it is. You assume she's probably on some kind of drugs, just dancing her ass off. Her hair looks wet and greasy. And then we're just cut back. So we have no context for what they were talking about there. And it's just the most depressing grocery store you could possibly work in. But it's meant to look that way intentionally.
Paper or plastic?
That's
Paper or plastic?
anybody out there who has a gig like this, I feel for you. To me, this is like soul-crushing work. I can't do this kind of shit where you stand in one spot for 8 hours and scan and bag groceries. I'm good. That's not to say that I think I'm too good for it. I definitely, if I have to put food on the table, gas in the car, roof over the head, I will do this. I'm not above it. It's just definitely not what I would choose to do, and I'll do my best to navigate around those types of jobs. But if you do that, more power to you. You got to do what you got to do. You probably have a dream or a goal you're working at outside of that. And even if not, that's great. I don't hate on anybody earning a living. I just know that that is some soul crushing is the only word I can think of. Work. Or the only phrase I can think of.
Pardon me if I'm not in a holly jolly mood right now, alright? I'm getting evicted.
So in this portion, we're following along the blonde girl here. And she's already been working a double shift, and this guy's going to try to get her to work for him so he can go to Vegas with his friends. And she's desperate for money, so he knows that he can take advantage of it, and she'll do it. And that's a lot, let's be honest, that's the relationship between a lot of employers and employees. This is work nobody would want to do, and you're not really paying what it's worth, but there's a person who needs money so bad they're willing to do it for that amount of money. And that's how a market works. I forgot their names. I wish I should have picked up the characters' names. That would have been very helpful.
Okay, dead celebrities. Loser goes up.
And they're just, I'm assuming that they're out of high school, but they're late teen, early 20s kids, you know, struggling to get by, no real goals or aspirations or responsibilities yet, or at least the first hints of responsibilities when it comes to rent and paying bills. And not real career oriented, they're just kind of slackers.
He's famous. He's dead.
That's like a rule or something. Nothing starts with an X.
It's not my problem.
You can
It's like a rule or something, nothing starts with an X.
This is bullshit.
Give me one dead celebrity that begins with an X.
I actually used to play this game when I was younger,
There is one.
but they weren't dead. You would just name celebrities. So, let's say I said Kurt Russell. And then, so his last name is Russell, it starts with an R, so you would have to name somebody who's famous, whose first name starts with an R.
I am.
And then, so you would say Ricky Ricardo. And then that's actually 2 R's. So then the direction that we were going in the game gets reversed. And the next person has to name somebody who starts with an R. And then you go with, I don't know, fucking, I'm drawing a blank right now. Anyway, you get the point. You just link together the famous names, and if you're not able to come up with one, you have to drink. That's the game. Now we get beautiful Josh Wolf and Jay Moore. They're supposed to be a gay couple, but they don't look it. That is a spoiler. I'm sorry, guys, if you haven't seen this before. You don't know till much later in the movie that they're a gay couple. But they're trying to score drugs, and they're going to use her basically as a go-between.
Aisle 4.
I was actually hoping for something a little more euphoric. British guy usually picks this up.
And they're looking for her friend with the red hair that she's working for.
We're desperate.
So she feels a little bit comfortable that at least she knows the guy that they're trying to get a hold of. They seem like they know him. It's not like a total just stranger approaching. But she shouldn't be so cavalier with willing to orchestrate a drug deal, especially at this point in time, in 99. Fuck that guy.
Let's see if I can give me a number.
So he said he was looking for something euphoric. I believe they're looking for ecstasy. Which goes along with the kind of rave scene of the entire movie. It's like
Simon's in Vegas.
I don't need Simon.
it's essentially a movie about ecstasy if you want to really boil it down.
Who's Todd Gaines? You can't do that, can you? You can go around Simon like that?
Okay, listen up. If Simon were here, by the
Simon, that's the redheaded guy's name.
times 20 hits, that's
So Simon's out of town. She knows she can't go to him, but she knows who his dealer is, and she's going to try to like circumvent Simon and go straight to the source, even though she doesn't really have the credit,
gets back, we can still overpay for quarters.
street credit to do so. This dude doesn't know who she is. This is not usually a move you would pull. I don't know. I mean, I came up in the days where weed was still legal. I know a lot of places where you guys might be listening to this, weed is definitely still illegal. So a lot of the kind of shady interactions you had to go through just to get some weed, you definitely weren't allowed to just skip past your dealer and go to the guy that he got it from. That's just not how the relationship works.
Can I come up?
For one, they're usually wholesalers. They don't just want to buy, you sell 20. They want to sell 500. And then the next guy sells them at 20. And that's how he makes his profit. Because you can pay less per unit when you're getting them in bulk. I'm getting way too deep into this. This is Timothy Olyphant. This is shortly after Scream. Or Scream 2, rather. That fucking hair. His hair is just always ridiculous. Do you comb it, or do you have to make it look like that? Do you even try? I guess he's the drug dealer and she needs stuff from him so he can do whatever he wants. But this is not appropriate social behavior. If I'm sitting there talking to you, don't just start making out with somebody like I'm watching a fucking porno.
I take it this is not a sexual
I don't want to hear your spit slapping together.
Wow, I didn't know we were such good friends, Rana. Because if we were, you would know I give head before I give favor. And I didn't give my best friend's head, so favor right now is pretty fucking sweet.
He says that he gives head before he gives favors, which is that's pretty standard for like a drug dealer type attitude, because there's people trying to game them constantly because they're druggies. So they've got to have a real hard-nosed, hard-line attitude about it. They can't play this favors games bullshit. They got to be about their money. It's fuck you, pay me. She asked for ecstasy. He turned his stereo up super loud and he's making her strip so that he can see that she's not wearing a wire. Of course, because he might be vaguely familiar with her. They might be acquaintances, but he definitely doesn't know her well enough for him to walk into his house and ask for 40 hits of ecstasy. It might be 20. I don't remember.
You come here out of the blue asking for 20 hits.
20.
So
It's
happens
20.
is the magic number where intent to sell becomes trafficking.
Oh,
I would never calculate that.
that's another wrinkle. So he says that 20 hits is the threshold where intent to sell becomes trafficking, and that's a much heavier charge legally. Criminally, he can get in a lot more trouble for selling 20 hits or more, which is interesting because 20 doesn't seem like it's
The real thing.
that much.
Not that crunchy herbal rage shit. Don't let anybody double dose or be frying eggs off them in the emergency room. Only one hit per headbanger.
Understood.
Per what period of time? I
2015.
did a little bit of ecstasy back in the day, and I never ran across anything that was so strong you couldn't do more than one.
More like
But you had to stage it. You couldn't just do 2 in a row. Then you'd be fucked. And I don't condone it at all.
right? They're 20.
I regret ever having done ecstasy. I feel like it led to
That's all I have.
some issues later down the road.
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out, okay? This 200 is like a down payment. Alright?
Not only is she asking for him to sell her
I come right back here and pay you.
the money, but she miscalculated how much it was going to cost, and she doesn't even have the money. She's short.
Collateral.
That's a classic drug dealer move, the collateral. I used to have a buddy that would do that. He had like a collection of fucking Walkmans and shit back in the day because people would have to leave their Walkman with him until they paid for their weed sack. They wanted weed more than their Walkman.
What shit have I done for you?
He had a couple laptops. He had all kinds of fucking shit.
That's an accessory. Alright? You were just some chick who's sitting in an apartment. That's it.
So she wants to leave her friend in his apartment while she goes and sells these drugs. And if she doesn't come back with the money,
She's on the street.
she doesn't get to leave.
No, Claire. I don't
This is Katie Holmes during Dawson's Creek, she's concurrent to this role. She's actually playing a high school kid, and she's probably like 23 at the time. At least she's playing her own age in this, or close to it.
It's like 8 o'clock.
Can't make promises like that. Tell her you'll get there as soon as you can, but telling her 45 minutes. She said she'll be back by 8. It's 8:04, and she just pulled up to the house.
Jesus, next time ask for directions.
Oh. We take GPS for granted today so much. They knew where they were going, but they didn't have directions, so they couldn't figure out how to fucking get there.
Seated amateur.
Very happy.
I'll drive somewhere 5 or 6 times using GPS and still not remember how to get there. It takes a while. I'm just so used to relying on it. It's kind of fucked up. This is, fuck, what's his name? Like Brian Fichtner, I believe. He's a pretty good actor, too. He's in Armageddon and Prison Break and a bunch of shit.
That was just a friend.
But his character makes you feel uncomfortable. He's a little bit too persistent and too in your face. He's trying so hard to be nice that he's being annoying. And they're awkwardly standing like this is all not it.
I understand this party tonight's gonna be huge.
They're talking about the rave that hasn't happened yet that we saw at the beginning of the movie. So we know that the rave, well, we don't really know because they don't directly come out and say it, but so it showed the rave, it showed Katie Holmes talking, then we went to the beginning of the day.
Oh, hey, no. We bought a whole bunch of orange juice tonight. I just left it in the car.
She knows something's fucked up here because she asked for some orange juice and the dude just came out and said they're out of orange juice. But she sold those guys like 10 cans of concentrated orange juice at the grocery store earlier today. And they said they left it in the car. So she knows something's up. And this guy is overly persistent about getting the deal done. So she's suspecting that he's a cop. Some fuckery's afoot. She's being set up. So she's going to come in the bathroom and flush the drugs down the toilet. And they also contradicted themselves about where their friend was held up, what city it was. She's kind of in a fucked up situation because if she doesn't get out of there with the drugs, she's got to come up with the money having not made the sale. She's going to be out all that money. Plus the fact that she was short rent money to begin with, and that's why she was working all these fucking shifts.
Fine.
Yep, she had to flush him. It's better to owe somebody money than to be in jail. Who unlocks the bathroom while somebody's in there? A fucking pervert.
We got a deal here.
No. No, actually we don't. That's what I came here to tell you. I couldn't get everything.
He's playing it fishy.
Source for a girl like you, I don't believe that.
It's true.
Look at how beautiful Josh Wolf was then.
Listen, I just want to make a deal. Can we make a deal?
Who the fuck are you, Money Hall?
I don't get that joke.
You know, I'm only 17.
Why is the label on that beer all fucked up like it's 10 years old?
Weird shit I sing as I'm so underage and all.
She say she's 17? That's not real. She's smoking cigarettes and has rent to pay, working at the grocery store. No talk of school. If you are 17, we need more backstory. I'm interested.
I'm gonna go back to town. Nothing can show up or whatever.
Oh, I also was talking over the part. Her buddy snagged 2 of the goddamn ecstasy. She forgot him in the car. He called her attention to it, gave them to her, and when it showed her walking away, he had 2 of them in his hand. And he took them both at the same fucking time. And he's going to be lucky if he doesn't die. back when I watched this as a kid, I didn't really get what he's going through. And I don't know if the person who wrote this knows what he's going through, but it seems like they did.
Just drive. I have an idea.
His jaw should be jacking by now, though. Like, ecstasy is a weird fucking drug. Because you feel great, like, everything makes you happy, and, like, you get these physical sensations. Just every movement feels good. It's crazy. It's a crazy feeling. But it has to be, like, the right dose. If you go overboard, you get into grinding your teeth and eyes rolling and chalky mouth, and it gets bad. Sweating, throwing up. Not to mention that it's like an upper, so you're up for a while on it, and then you crash pretty hard, and the next day you don't feel good. Like, it's like you just have this fog in your head you can't clear out. So it's essentially like just writing 2 days off your calendar that you can't do anything. It's like, okay, we're going to have a good time this day, and the next day we're going to be totally incapacitated. But he's frying balls in this grocery store right now. Like, he's in the good part still. He hasn't gotten to the feeling like shit. It's just coming on, and this is all happening in his imagination. But the way the music's all sped up and shit, that's just like, you're just like, yeah, feels so great, feels so great. First time I ever did ecstasy, we just went to the mall, and we were just walking around. And I was like, oh my God, every woman here is so beautiful. All these girls here are so pretty. Oh, these trees, they're so nice. And then I was walking, and it's like, my legs feel so good. It was just, and then you walk by like the candle store, and you're like, oh my God, everything in there smells delicious. But then that turns into sitting alone with another friend, listening to bass music as loud as you can, and grinding your fucking teeth.
Were they round or oval?
Yeah, maybe the person who wrote it was just guessing, or they'd observed other people, because his jaw should definitely, or they didn't want to have that be that realistic.
A or B?
The grinding teeth factor, because of the upper, is inevitable. Unless they're trying to say that this is like pure shit that's not cut. But I would have to make sure I had a shitload of water and gum to chew. And my jaw would be sore for days from chewing gum.
Speak.
But at least I wasn't grinding my teeth.
Just licking my dick? What's up with
I'm just licking my dick.
It's called the crazy horse. You have to look at it. I don't know.
He's on the phone with Simon right now, actually.
Party?
Katie Holmes is scared shitless of him. She doesn't know what to think. He's shirtless, wearing a Santa Claus hat. She knows he's a drug dealer. And he's aggressive and assertive.
It's called
I don't know about aggressive. He's assertive, though.
marry you like a chick. Like her name is Mary. Not like you marry her, you fucking moron. With some warehouse shit. Is this gonna be
They're discussing the rave again that we saw later in the
My
movie.
friend Claire here says it's gonna be a kick-ass fucking time. You know her?
Of course you know her. Timothy Olyphant looks kind of pale in this. It might be the least attractive I've ever seen him look. Plus he's got that fucking late 90s, early 2000s bleached hair going on. I tried that for a summer. My hair turned orange. It was kind of crazy how that caught fire. Damn near 50% of the kids I went to school with had bleached hair, or at least bleached tips, for a couple years. It's like right at the tail. Well, no, maybe not.
They'll be here.
See, these are the kind of questions that make her feel very uncomfortable. He just asked her if she wanted to get laid, and she said no. And he said, "You don't want to get laid, or you don't want to get laid with me?" And her response was that her friend would be there with the money. She's thinking he's like going to try to force his way on her if he doesn't get paid.
Answer the question, Claire.
And we don't really know enough about him to know if that's something he's going to do or not. Takes a certain type of person to do something like that, in my opinion. You either can or can't do that.
Then I get there and I don't know, this girl's brother has already, come through with it, so.
Okay.
Let me just, fill out a return slip here, and I'll have the manager give you a refund.
Todd.
So Rhonda went to the grocery store and got like some vitamins or antihistamines or something, and she put them in the bottle, and she's trying to take them back and get her money back and say that the sale didn't happen. She's trying to now trick the drug dealer, which, if it works, I guess is the cleanest way for her. Not the most ethical situation, but if he catches you, he seems like he's like you're dead. Seems like the kind of guy that would kill you, or at least fuck you up pretty good. She was fucked from the jump because her dumbass friend took 2 of them out. So even if she made the sale, she's gonna be short 2. And even if she had them still to try to return, she would be short 2. This fucking guy, that's no friend at all. You can't steal people's shit. There's a rapper named Evidence. He's got a song called Strangers. And he says, "There's one thing I've learned that I've written down on paper. You can't trust some weed on the table with a stranger."
I'm keeping 50, call it in.
Fine. I'm really sorry about all this.
Hey, but that guy's not even a fucking stranger. That's supposed to be one of her homies. And he's stealing pills from her that she's trying to sell so she can make rent. That guy's a piece of shit.
Here, I thought you just gave me a head.
I used to hang around people of that ilk, and then at some point I realized I needed to cut them out of my life because they weren't friends. It wasn't making me better to hang around people like that. He's still tripping the fuck out. He's laying on top of the car looking up at looking up at space. But bro, space is fake. You don't even know. It's just an image that never has any burnt out pixels. Nothing ever goes wrong. It's always got a perfect power supply. And it's been a seamless. They've been able to do this through the entire course of humanity. It's a big hoax, bro. Space is fake. You don't even know. You don't even know, bro.
Me.
Fucking idiots.
You're so short, aren't you?
So now she has probably her most brilliant idea.
What?
She's going to go to the rave and sell the antihistamines or whatever the fuck they are, ginkgo biloba, to these ravers and pass it off as ecstasy. And half of them get off on the placebo effect and think that they're high when they aren't. It's kind of a fucked up move. Nobody wants to buy some bunk ass drugs if that's what you're in the market for. But it's kind of a victimless crime. Who are you going to report it to? Nobody's going to call the cops and say this girl ripped me off when I tried to buy drugs from her.
It's really smooth, isn't it?
Just like nobody's going to call the cops and say this person stole my drugs. That's why the way that stuff gets handled in that environment is with violence. It's because they have to handle it themselves. If somebody steals money from you or steals drugs from you in the drug game, you can't go to the authorities and have them get your shit back because you're not supposed to be doing it to begin with. So the onus falls on you, and then the only tool that they have in most instances, at least they think, is violence. So it's kind of the illegality that makes the violence necessary, or the only option anyway. So this fucking idiot thinks he's high, and he just bought another pill for his friend He thinks he's floating around. And she's telling him that it makes it better if you smoke a lot of pot with it, which of course, because you're just going to be high from weed. But it's a different feeling. When you're on ecstasy and you smoke weed, it feels like you did nothing. The weed is so much weaker than the ecstasy, than that kind of a drug. Same thing when you're on like shrooms or acid. You try to take a hit of weed and it's like you're just breathing air. You can't even feel that it went in. You feel no difference cognitively, no rush, nothing. It's just like, it's just burning weed at that point. It's a waste. Which leads to chain smoking cigarettes, which is another fucking issue when you do ecstasy. So now Timothy Olyphant is getting ready to put the pills back into his supply with the others, and he's going to realize the discrepancy in their appearance. This movie's got a very authentic feel to it. Like, these are actually people that do exist and have existed, at least in this period of time. Just raves and shitty jobs and barely making rent and shady business. And the way you dealt with boredom was to go do stuff. Because we didn't have as much technology. We didn't have so many things to just keep us entertained. So many tasks. So much social media to check in on. So many selfies to take. Like, if you were broke, you either stayed home and cleaned, or you went to a park or some shit. Like, you couldn't just sit on your phone and talk about how sad your life is on social media all day. Uh-oh. So now Timothy Olyphant has shown up at the rave, and he hears these ravers talk about this girl selling them really good ecstasy. They're fucking idiots because it was fake. But he, nonetheless, that goes along with his narrative where he thinks she stole the pills from him so that she could sell them. So he's there looking for her because he needs... I can't think of the... fuck it. Forget I said anything. God damn it. And raves, they look really fucking stupid. Like, when you're sober, you see a rave and you're like, what the hell? It's like something that you have to be on drugs to appreciate, I think. It's like they were made to go together because it just kind of makes sense when you're in that state. But sober, looking at them like, fuck all that noise. I would never want to be there. Now he's hitting the bad spurt. He's gotten too high and he's getting sick and he hasn't been drinking water. Those are the bad times. You gotta manage the situation. Even when you're having a good time, you gotta manage the fucking situation. Set yourself up for success. This guy set himself up for failure from the jump. I was fucking around with my cigarettes, but I believe that she saw Timothy Olyphant looking for her in the rave. So she's run out to her vehicle now. Oh, and now we have the confrontation. She's fucked. And he's got a gun. Feels very similar to his character in The Girl Next Door. Note that Miata just sped by, that yellow Miata.
I know I fucked up. Hey, please. I can make it up to you.
The last fucking person you should be expecting a favor from.
Him in favors. He's like, you know what? I did you a half a fucking favor and it bit me in the ass. This is why we don't do favors. She thinks she's dead. She thinks he's gonna kill her. And then boom, there's that Miata. It fucking hits her and she flies up on top of it. And she's gone over the top and she's on the windshield, splayed out. And Timothy Olyphant staring in disbelief. He can't fucking believe it. Now the car just dumped her down a hill. Reversed. He's holding his arms up like, what the fuck is going on here? And then they took off. What a confusing situation for him. He thought he's going to have to kill this girl, and all of a sudden a car just wipes her out and then dumps her down the hill. And takes off. Total hit and run. He's in shock. He can't figure out what to do with himself. But at this point his hands are clean, so he's going to put the gun away and leave the situation. She got her karma, even if it wasn't at his hand. I'm not saying that's what she deserved, but that's what he thought she deserved. And they're going to use this moment as a dark comedy callback later on when you see what's going on in this scene from somebody else's perspective. And remember that she hit her friend in that fucking garbage because he's frying balls and incapacitated. So now we're going to follow, we're starting back at the same point, but we're following from Simon's point of view. I got to take a piss real quick, so you guys got to listen to the movie chirp at you.
Because she's been on for 14 hours.
No.
I haven't even asked you yet.
The answer's still no.
Christmas is a time for giving. Mistletoe? How much you owe?
$380.
That's nothing.
More than I got.
Would you want my shit? Look, my best mates are going to Las Vegas this weekend. I've never been. I'm told it's incredible. If you take my shift, I can go with them. Everybody wins. Cash up front.
Sorry about that, guys. Fucking coffee goes right through you. Plus, I always get a little bit of like nervous energy, tension right before I start recording. Always become a little bit unsure of myself. I think that's natural. I think that happens with most people. You always see, you know, like the Rocky movie or whatever it is where the performer or the athlete's throwing up in the bathroom before the big show. Being nervous means you care. Simon's locked in the trunk of a car. He's using a lighter to burn up all the oxygen. He wants to suffocate. His friends fucking... I'll beat all of you motherfuckers up. You don't lock me in the trunk of a car. That's an unforgivable offense. I don't get thrown into the back of trunks. I also get really bad motion sickness. I would have a headache that lasts for 8 hours after that shit. Breckin Meyer is a good actor, but this role feels like he's trying to be a little bit gangster, and it feels very inauthentic. But that's a genuine portrayal of a type of person back in the day. The white boy identity crisis eras. Plus, it's a way of like... It's like a way of altering your speech to make yourself try to fit in with the person you're talking to, but it comes off offensive. You know, where somebody like all of a sudden takes on a weird, like a Hispanic type twang or accent when they're talking to a Mexican person, or when they're talking to a black person, they start kind of gangstering it up a little bit. I don't know if it's intentional, and I think that it comes from a good place, but from an outside perspective, it reads very offensive. It's like, dude, it seems like you're trying to dumb yourself down to talk to them like they're an idiot, like they won't understand you if you just speak. I guess I was talking over them, kind of addressing how inauthentic his character seems. Yeah, he thinks he is black, so it fits. He's supposed to be an inauthentic, black-feeling white guy. So my feeling about his character was accurate and what they intended. So it's not really a criticism, right, if they do it intentionally? Or you can criticize the choice, but not the portrayal. He's doing what he was supposed to do, which was what I was really thinking at the beginning. I was like... Can't you guys dress a little nicer to go to Vegas? You're wearing a fucking tank top. $5 is expensive? Fucking animals. Those shrimp. These guys are going hard on the shrimp. Where do you think shrimp in Vegas come from? You think that shit's fresh? Fuck you. You can't do shit for 14 hours. It's hard to walk for 14 hours. Are you guys moving at all? If you don't know what I'm talking about, Tay Diggs is claiming he's talking about this tantric sex shit, which gets brought up time and again in a few movies like Finch and American Pie 2. But he's claiming that him and his girlfriend had sex for 14 hours straight. Like... Did you take water breaks? What do you consider 14 hours straight? Did you have to go to the bathroom? Did you get lightheaded? Did you need a snack? Who wants to have sex for 14 hours? I don't want to do anything for 14 hours.
Yeah, he gets a discount here.
14 hours? So apparently this drug dealer is well known enough that Tay Diggs' character knows him by name. And Simon is good enough friends with him that he let him borrow his credit card. So Timothy Olyphant's character's name is Todd. I just gathered that. So this is Todd talking to Simon on the phone. We saw the other end of this conversation when Katie Holmes and Timothy Olyphant were in his apartment. So it gives you an idea of what's going on. So the blonde girl has already picked up the ecstasy and is heading to the other people's house and has left Katie Holmes at Timothy Olyphant's.
You're going to a wedding. Oh, is it like a rave?
He's explaining the rave. See, those dudes who ate the shrimp got fucked up. There's no... You gotta be careful with that seafood shit. I don't even like seafood, so it's not a problem for me. But you gotta eat the freshness.
This is our room.
This adjoining room shit. Have you guys ever stayed in an adjoining room? I think I have a couple times, but I never even bothered opening the door. It always felt like this weird taboo thing, like I was going to see a murder or something, like Dexter was over there. But I've also never had anybody try to bother me through the adjoining door. When I graduated high school, we took a trip to the beach, me and my friends and I, me and my friends. Who gives a fuck? And we got rooms next to each other, but they weren't actually adjoining. And I got left holding most of that bill, which was a life lesson. It was good. Simon's lost so much money that he's hitting Tay Diggs up for money. So instead of giving him money, he took his wallet and he's gonna make him go fucking find something to do for an hour without spending any money. Because you can just drown yourself in Vegas. You gotta be careful with that shit. It's designed to just keep you clicking, keep you clicking, keep you clicking, keep you clicking. Just keep doing it. Keep pulling that fucking lever like a robot, like a fucking robot. Literally like a chimpanzee. Getting nothing out of it except for the thrill that you might eventually win something. And it's all just designed to just funnel your money. Why do you think they have such nice fucking displays and all these fireworks shows and these fountains and these goddamn pyramids and these lights and HD everything and gold everything and marble everything? What do you think pays for all that? And it's always updated and kept modern with every fucking trend. It's always modern. It's always the new shit. You know how much money that costs? A lot. And it's because so many people are going there and just dumping everything they have into it and coming out of it with nothing. Just on the hope and a prayer that they might strike it rich and might be able to escape their life that they're clearly not happy with. I feel like that's the only way you could be driven to sit there and pull that lever that many times, is it's just like, oh, yacht life, yacht life, yacht life. No more working at the plant. No more air traffic control. No more airport security. No more, like,
Over there, then
such a waste of time.
who I don't say.
And the ROI, unless you win fairly quickly into it, there's people who go to the casino daily for years. You could make a decent amount of money if you just worked on something else daily for years, instead of pulling that lever. Hopes and dreams, hopes and dreams, hopes and dreams. So Simon has met these bridesmaids in an elevator, and he's totally laying the accent on thick because they think it's fun. And now they have the great line, "Do you want to be getting high with us?" Fuck yeah, I do. They're on the 42nd floor. Yes, I will be there. You guys don't have a better pipe than... How did you get this here? I would like to talk to somebody who who's familiar with smoking weed in Vegas back in the day when it was illegal. Because from what I know, it was very illegal. So you'd think that risk would have made it much harder to get. I guarantee it made it more expensive. This bitch, she stuffed toilet paper in her nose because she said she can't hold the smoke in if she doesn't do that. And then she set the toilet paper on fire while she was taking a hit, which reminds me of a story. So when I graduated high school, my very last day of school, there was this girl. I won't say her name because it's kind of an embarrassing story. She's pretty cute. I had kind of the secret crush on her, but I had like confidence issues back then, and it was one of those things where I just did not think that it was even possible that she could be attracted to me. Anyway, that's beside the point. So she lived near me, and I would give her a ride home from school every day. And so the last day of school, I think she was a year younger than me, but it was my last day ever going to that school. I was a senior. I think she was a junior. We're leaving school, and she goes, "I got a cigar. You want to smoke this cigar?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to smoke this cigar." So she proceeds to start sparking up this cigar and lighting it. And if you know, cigars are kind of a bitch to light. They're not like a cigarette or a joint. You got to really work the flame there and take puffs on it. In the process, her hair falls down over the flame, and she burns a huge chunk of hair out of, or basically her bangs on the left side. And the whole car starts smelling like burnt hair, and there's this chunk missing, and you can tell she's just so embarrassed. And I'm trying to play it cool. I don't want to mention it. I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. It was very memorable, though. And I don't know if I ever saw her again. So the toilet paper that this dumb girl had in her nose, she blew it out on the floor, and they didn't put it out all the way. It caught fire again, and now the whole hotel room is on fire. He's actually fucking them both. Probably the seminal accomplishment in his life. The best thing he's ever done. And or ever will do. That's got to be number one on the experience list for him, probably. Anyway, while they're banging, the room goes up in flames, and he has to run out of there naked. Damn, look at that old school, like, Eazy-E guy in the back. Outfit is fly, player. Got on a leather baseball cap, a leather vest, plaid hoodie. Somebody left Tay Diggs a tip like he's a bathroom attendant, which I guess is supposed to be like a racist thing. But he's wearing like a sport coat and stuff. The fact that it's gold probably doesn't help him. Looks very much like these bellhops and shit. Why are you wearing that gold jacket? Are you a PGA Tour champion? You Happy Gilmore? Ooh, Steal My Sunshine by Len. This is a one-hit wonder if I've ever heard one. It's very Smash Mouth-like. It almost seems like it's a Smash Mouth song. But it's Len. L-E-N. Wow, this is I was probably in like the 5th grade when this came out. I remember this being on MTV's TRL. Watch that shit every day at noon. See what the latest #1 music video was. Is it gonna be Eminem today? Is it Britney Spears? Is it the Backstreet Boys? Is it Smash Mouth? Is it Papa Roach? Is it POD? We don't know. We better find out. Y'all kids today don't know. TRL was the jam. Wake up, watch The Price is Right. Then you'd have an hour between from 11 to 12 where I can't think of anything notable that was on. I don't know, you make yourself a sandwich, you go check the mail, you go do whatever. Then you come back at noon, watch TRL, make yourself another sandwich, have a good time. That was summer vacation. Then go out and do fucking yard work. So because he's wearing this goddamn Happy Gilmore gold jacket, somebody thought that he was a valet and tossed him their keys, and he went ahead and stole their car. I think it's a Ferrari. I didn't pay attention. Yeah, it's a Ferrari. And there was a gun in the glove box, which Simon took out and is carrying with him like a jackass. Simon is a very dumb guy. Now they're at the Crazy Horse Topless Saloon. Topless? You're not going bottomless? I would much prefer bottomless. You can keep your top on. If I'm being honest. I'm not hungry. I'm not a baby. I don't need your nipples. But I do want to see that ass. And let's be honest, the most prized possession is under the bottoms. I guess that's why they do it that way, right? They're saying, like, we're not going to let you give them the full Monty. We'll give you the lesser of the two evils and go with the breasts. Or is it a sanitary thing? I just pronounced that weird. A sanitary thing. Sanitation issue. It's OSHA and they're like, y'all need to keep your fucking bottoms on because you got some dirty ass pussies. Before they went in here, Tay Diggs, or is it Ty Diggs? Tay Diggs? Fuck, anyway, he told Simon, don't order a bottle of champagne. That's code for a private room, private dance. And as soon as they get in there and this chick puts her tits in his face, he says he wants to order a bottle of champagne because he's a weak moron. Fucking impulsive douchebag. Can't be friends with him or people like him either.
You are expected to behave as a gentleman. I'll be giving you one rule. If you break this rule,
He just gave the bouncer the drug dealer's credit card so that before they went into this private room.
touch the ladies.
That's going to come back to bite him in the ass.
Circumstance. Is that clear?
One of them, either the drug dealer or Simon. We'll see. Get a fucking lollipop out of your mouth. What are you doing? Maybe he's trying to quit smoking. He just looks like a generic big guy. Probably played college ball. Had a couple of tryouts. It didn't work out. Now he's an alcoholic bouncer at a strip club. These strippers look like... I would assume the strippers look like in Vegas. I imagine you probably get kind of the... I don't want to say cream of the crop, but you probably have a better talent pool to pick from because women will go there thinking that it's a good opportunity. Since it's such a free balling city, you got the gambling and the prostitution and all that shit, so... That blonde girl looks like Plastic Surgery City. Even her face, she looks like she's got blown up lips and shit. I'm not into that. Leave your face alone. Can't touch? Maybe that's a rule. They've let me touch. I mean, allegedly. I was allegedly at a strip club once, and the stripper allegedly let me touch her. This is all fiction, folks. Oh, he grabbed that ass. Again, Simon. God damn it, Simon. Why don't you go back to the Keebler factory and make those delicious cookies I like with the white cookie and chocolate frosting? Or the fudge striped shortbread cookies. I don't know if he's gay, man. He just grabbed her ass. If he was gay, he probably... What is that pronunciation? Do you think you can be my ass? And Simon has the gun still, and he shot the bouncer in the arm. This goddamn guy can't get anything right. You better get the fuck out of the town, man. Not just out of the club. You need to leave Vegas tonight. I would not trust my safety having just shot a bouncer in the city that has... I don't know about if it has the most money in the world. But if you think about the amount of money that just flows in there from people who don't live there, it's got to be up there for cities in the world. They're just constantly raking in dough from people that don't live there. So you imagine that in that environment, there's going to be a lot of corruption that is involved, because a lot of people are going to want to slice up their share of that money. So there's going to be a lot of shady connections between businesses and influencers, and you don't want to piss off the wrong person in Vegas is all I'm saying. And this is all alleged. I don't know any of this for a fact. But if I had to guess, I imagine that there's some pretty powerful people. And there's a lot of people a tier below that who know them, who can call in a favor. There's a lot of networking. I wouldn't recommend doing anything that these guys have just done. You know you're running a shady business when your boss stitches you up in the office and they don't even send you to the hospital. He must not have medical insurance.
So fucking incompetent that the guy ahead of you can't do his job, so he falls on his ass. And congratulations, you on that one.
He's kind of accurate. The effort put forth and the work ethic per capita has declined steadily over the last couple decades. He's just addressing that.
I'm going to show you how not to be overwhelmed by the casino.
Bad ass TV. Ballin'. If you showed up in a hotel room today and they had that TV, you'd be so disappointed. And these fucking guys that ate the shrimp, they can't even... Uh-oh. He just answered the phone and immediately told them what room he was in.
Yeah, room 660.
What a fucking asshole. Okay, they have the right idea. They know they gotta haul ass up to the room and get their friends out of there because they're in trouble. They have made some mistakes tonight. There's an ashtray in front of the elevators. Bunch of cigarette butts sticking out of it. I guess they don't let you smoke on the elevator because it's a confined space. That would make sense. And you're really forcing people to deal with it in that environment. You're smoking cigarettes on an elevator. It's a dick move. Unless you're on there by yourself. Damn, they made it there that fast. I've never been to Vegas. Is Vegas easy to get around in by car? Seems like there would be traffic. But once you're there, where are you going? Are there a lot of people driving? I know you can't answer me. Damn. Kid grew a set. Karma. What the fuck? He just had a monkey wrench or a pipe wrench in his sleeve. Nice bowl cut, kid. Kids bribing them and they're actually coming up with the money. Open, open, open. He's leaning against the wall counting the money like, fuck it, he just stole somebody's lunch money at school. There was a 50 in there. I believe that the 50 is the least common bill still currently in circulation. Because when you think about it, it's the least useful. You have 20s and 10s, you can make 50 there, and then you jump up to 100. So there's not really a circumstance ever where you need a 50. And plus, it's such a large denomination that it's not necessary. It's kind of weird that they even have them. Why do we need 50s? So yeah, fun fact. It's the least common currently circulating bill. Last time I checked. Or currently made bill. Because occasionally you'll get a $2 bill that's in circulation somehow, and those have been gone for a while. Those aren't common at all. You guys remember when they tried to change the dollar? They brought those dollar coins back, Sacagawea dollars. People weren't on board with that shit at all. You get them mixed in with quarters and Chuck E. Cheese tokens. Wonder what the purpose of that was. And I don't know if this is still true, but we always refer to money as being paper, and that's not the case. It's, I believe, cotton and polyester. And I was told at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing in DC back in 2000 that it's actually not even green. It's a combination of red and blue dyes that make that color. And you can tell because if you look at very closely at the front of a dollar bill, you usually see a couple of red or blue fibers stuck to the front of it. I believe I'm remembering that right. I could be totally wrong. Google it. Don't rely on me for your information. This is just a podcast. This is meant to be entertainment. Meant to be. I know it's probably failing at that. As these four brothers get chased through Vegas. Hey, bro. What's up? We're not doing shit. What are you looking uncomfortable for? He could pull you over right now and it would be no problem. And you'd be safe. It's this fucking guys behind you that should be worried. What are you worried about? That cop is a veil of safety. Oh, he's turning. You should try to stay as close to that cop as you can. Oh, y'all be fucked. Oh. Not a bad move. I mean, it was super dangerous because you had to turn across oncoming traffic. But you succeeded. Got yourself a little bit of space. What are you doing? Oh my god, he just drove down this narrow... Simon is the worst. God damn it, Simon. He drove him down this narrow-ass alleyway. And now they're gonna be blocked in by a garbage truck. And he decided to go ahead and slam into the wall first. Oh my fucking god, Simon. The car is wedged, nose to tail, across the alleyway. So he's facing perpendicular to where he should be. And he's stuck that way. Are you happy now? Why is this fucking guy your friend? Everything bad that's happened to you tonight so far has become as a result of him. Alright then. Get on your Jamie Foxx. Or not Jamie Foxx, your Will Smith Bad Boys motif. Oh shit. Oh! So now the owner of the strip club and the bouncer have just T-boned them and pushed them out into the street. And then left them? Is your car still drivable? Oh, shit. I forgot that happened. Strip club owner and the bouncer just tipped their goddamn Blazer over. Oh my god, and then Simon gets in another car accident. His car looks like he's playing the video game Driver right now. And he's about to be done. His car is about to receive terminal damage. You guys aren't more fucked up from that? He's still driving this car like this. Oh my god. The whole trunk is smashed in. And half the front end. But they made it out of Vegas.
Listen, here's the plan. We can be in Mexico by noon. I say we should split up from there. I'll take Baja, right?
The plan, fuck
Mexico?
back home to LA.
So I didn't think about that. They were gonna call the cops and call
Yeah, I think you just got to make it back to LA. Well, they're going to trace that credit card, but it's not your credit card. So you just got to make it back to LA and you're going to be golden. No fucking running from Mexico. You didn't commit a capital offense. You didn't murder anybody.
You ready? First name Todd. Last name T-A-I-N.
So they're tracing the credit card back to Timothy Olyphant's character. Pardon me. Still a little bit sick. I've been sick for weeks. Just partially. I must have, I don't know. Maybe I should get checked out.
Because she's been on for 14 hours.
Just a little bit overly phlegmed. So now we're going to go from Katie Holmes' perspective. And I completely underappreciated how cute she was back then. See, Jay Moore and Scott Wolf, they're on TV, so they're actors within the storyline. It's soap opera bullshit. It's a TV show within a TV show. Oh, this isn't Katie Holmes' perspective. It's from Jay Moore and Scott Wolf's. My bad. So they're being all taped up with fucking wires and surveillance equipment in the bathroom at the grocery store.
work out, don't you? You have to.
And Fichtner's character,
You got a great body. People in here.
the guy who was being overly
So we're clear on this.
persistent about the drug deal earlier with Rhonda,
Try to drop them.
he's now, you can see he's kind of orchestrating them being wired up.
Himself getting busted for possession.
So he's a cop. He busted them for possession and he's trying to use them to get farther up the ladder. Classic move up the food chain line. But he's kind of creepy with them. Almost seems like he's hitting on them.
Is it safe to have a radio against my boss like this? It's safe enough.
Starlight, Starbright.
Maybe they weren't in the grocery store bathroom. They were in a bathroom. Whatever. So this is the other angle of the scene where they come in and buy the orange juice and have the interaction with Rhonda. So we now know that they were trying to set her up. Which is kind of fucked up because the guy they normally buy from's not there. That's who they're trying to set up. She's just trying to make it work and make a few bucks. And she gets caught up in this and could end up going to jail for trafficking drugs when it was presumably her only time doing it. At least not something she does regularly. And again, the Fichtner character now seems like he's hitting on Jay Moore. I don't know if you guys have ever been sold something, like maybe an Amway or some kind of a pyramid thing or something of that nature. But sometimes people that aren't good salesmen, when they're trying to be really good salesmen and they're trying to be a people person, it comes off like they're hitting on you. It's kind of an inauthentic, forced thing. It's like the way that an awkward teenager talks to a girl. Jay Moore is revealing how he knows, or how he found out that he was being cheated on by his significant other. And it was socks. So he says that his socks, he have an elastic band at the top that keeps him from falling down, and he found a pair of socks in his drawer that didn't have that. So he knew he was being cheated on. Damn, we drove all the way to the grocery store now. Why were you guys setting up shop at the other place? What the fuck was the point of that? And why so many things of orange juice?
Do you know who your girlfriend's fucking? No, Adam, I do not. Although I have suspicion.
So they're actually a gay couple, so...
Keep calling. What coincidence. The exact same problem with my girlfriend.
So Jay Moore's story about his girlfriend cheating on him was these two.
Maybe I should start checking around for socks too.
They both have trust issues. They each think the other one's cheating on them.
Gay men are so hot.
She knows they're gay right away.
It's tragic.
It's weird that Jay Moore is supposed to be a hot guy in this. His forehead is huge. He doesn't seem like a particularly good-looking guy. I don't know for a fact, but
You're gonna ask. Come on. Why me? Why not?
I guess he's dressed kind of nice, but
There's an opera about him. Seriously.
he's not on my list. I'll tell you that for sure.
Twice.
Thank God they skipped over the actual interaction between Rhonda and them. It would have been very unnecessary and redundant.
He wasn't there.
Beautiful Mustang that was in the background there. Show me that again. It's a 289 maybe?
You think she can score? Maybe.
Look at that Mustang back there.
That's all we need. It's all connected. Oh yeah, circle it up.
Oh man. They even followed her to Todd's place. Wow.
So, if she gets this stuff, what, you just arrest her?
No, try to bring her over. You see, we arrested
And this is why drug dealers and
one cracker.
that was always so shady and so anxiety provoking. You never quite trusted it because you always thought maybe this is what was happening. Maybe you're being set up. Maybe.
You got that right. She's coming up.
Bert, what if she's not a deal?
So now you understand why he was being so persistent about getting the drug deal done. He's trying to bust up the chain and he needs her to move up the ladder.
We are fresh out of OJ. Is it racing?
Oh, hey, no. No, we bought a whole bunch of orange juice, so we left it out in the car.
Now this little part we saw earlier, but we didn't see it from the angle they're about to show. Jay Moore's gonna walk towards her and tell her to get out of there. He's gonna like motion with his face, go.
Let me show you.
And the movie's called Go. And he basically just confirmed her suspicions before she went into the bathroom, and at that point she knows she's got to get rid of the shit and get out of there.
I probably shouldn't be doing this here, should I? It being so,
And that fucks over these two, because Jay Moore and Scott Wolf, because they were relying on this bus to get them out of trouble because they're cooperating, and they were ineffective in that. So now they're being slammed against the wall and handcuffed.
Do this first. I twisted away from me when I put in the second cuff. Well, he can't go after me. He doesn't have any leverage.
See, again, he's giving them this kind of weird handcuffing presentation where he seems like he's hitting on them.
Watch all these cop shows. They never do it right. Ever. You know? Spread him!
There's an element of homoeroticism to it. At least that's what they're trying to lead on. They're trying to make you think that this guy wants to fuck these two.
What?
Awkward.
You guys have a Merry Christmas. It was good to meet
The fuck is a beta cam?
you. Noel.
Hey, Bert, whether you get something on that guy or not, we're done, right? We did our.
No, you didn't actually help.
It's been a pleasure.
I mean, you cooperated,
Now that he's done,
but
I wanted to ask you
you didn't help them gain anything.
a proposition.
See, now he's gonna proposition them.
My wife and I read, she's my wife. It's gotta work on Christmas, so we decided to have Christmas dinner tonight. And I was thinking, maybe
He's inviting them to Christmas dinner at his house tonight, even though it's not Christmas.
I'll sign the paper. How does that sound?
Wow. He gave them like an ultimatum. He said that if they stay for dinner, then he'll sign their paper saying they cooperated and they're free to go. It's a fucked up move.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry. Phone? Check my messages.
Here.
Damn, she's in this? It's the blonde girl from 30 Rock. She's the wife. I don't know that I've ever seen her in anything besides 30 Rock. She's using a hand mixer on some potatoes and just eye fucking Scott Wolf. And he's like kind of mildly amused, but not, because he's gay and he probably gets stared at like that all the time by women he's not interested in. Probably a huge portion of his fan base, though. What the fuck?
Sorry.
No, stay for a sec. Here, smell it.
So the cop is just standing in the middle of his bedroom naked when Jay Moore comes out of the bathroom, and he asks him to smell his cologne.
Really?
Yeah, I get this done for half what that stuff costs.
And now the sales pitch starts.
You try.
Doesn't it smell like CK1? I get it for half the price. And when you join this club, you can blah, 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 blah. Did I just see the tip of his dick by accident? I didn't want to see that.
Yeah, it's really soft.
Get up.
Now he's inviting him to get onto his bed. It's an implied
Exactly.
homoeroticism.
You do aerobics over.
But where he's heading is trying to demonstrate the quality of all these products, and then he's going to try to saddle them into joining his
You kiss those girls.
pyramid scheme, essentially.
Are you?
Well, it's a stage kiss. Your lips touch, but there's no tongue.
So there's no feeling? Nobody gets jealous?
I'm gay, sweetheart. There's never any feeling when I'm kissing girls on TV. Okay. See, at this point, we don't know about the sales pitch that's coming, so it seems like this weird kind of sex bargain deal that they've accidentally gotten themselves involved in.
Honey?
They're going to be pressured into sucking some dicks.
Oh, which goes with him?
I guess there's only one.
More wine?
No. He doesn't want any more.
Talk about an uncomfortable
No, thank you.
dinner. So did you guys like that chicken? It's actually recycled tuna fish. What do you mean recycled?
This is one.
It's been used before. I don't understand what you mean.
I mean, when I say this, I'm really sorry, but I think we're gonna have to leave soon.
Hey, this isn't wine. You ever seen those little juice boxes? Well, when they have a problem with them, they empty them out. They add alcohol to it. It just tastes the same as wine. It's even better if you ask me. It's like alcoholic fruit punch Capri Sun.
Well, Irene and I sort of...
That ham looks goddamn delicious, though.
He makes it sound sinister. It's not.
No, I... She's right, okay. Okay, you've looked around our place.
Here it comes.
Where do you think we got most of this stuff?
Where do you think we got most of our stuff? I don't know, a goddamn store? Why are you being a creep? They really have no idea what's going on.
It's actually from Confederated Products.
What
Almost everything in this house.
the fuck, dude?
Products, from the toilet paper.
Is that like Big Lots?
To the ham.
The wine.
The wine. Even that cologne.
What are you guys talking about?
Confederated Products is a multi-level direct wholesaling company, which means we don't just sell the products ourselves. No, so you Reebok. We recruit and manage teams that work under us. Now, Irene and I started...
Yeah, it's a pyramid scheme. So they sell all this shit, but then they also bring in people
By March?
to work under them to sell the shit, and you have to kick up to the people who brought you in. I think it's the only way it really works is if you continue to bring new people in,
Cannot recruit distributors from inside the force. It's against
which is why they've
so
given them this hard fucking sale pitch.
we look for people in other industries.
Like the entertainment industry.
Wait.
What the fuck?
You want us to sell Amway?
Confederate.
That's the response that you. I've been pitched this on a couple different occasions by a couple of different people, and that's what I wanted to say. That's what I wish I had chambered. You want me to sell Amway?
With me or one of your other boyfriends?
One time it was
I cheat on you.
when I was in charge of the newspaper
Yeah.
warehouse, or at least my buddy and I were. We were partners. And one of the people who worked for us started trying to like talk to me about leadership and my goals and stuff like that, but it was in this really inauthentic, fake feeling way, like he's just repeating shit he'd heard. And finally I had to say, dude, I don't know what you're trying to sell me. I don't know if you're hitting on me, but I'm not interested in either. I'm your boss. Let's keep it that way. Because I really didn't know where he was going, but it started off kind of like they did in this movie, where I thought he was hitting on me. I was like, what the fuck is this guy getting at? And then it ended up being where I was like, oh, I think he's trying to sell me something. Okay, I got to stop this in its tracks. Especially the amount of effort he was going through. And he wasn't reaching me at all. I couldn't have given a fuck about what he was trying to sell me. It is Melissa McCarthy. What the fuck?
Oh my god. I'll call you back.
She's skinnier.
Jimmy's not here right now.
I mean, she's not skinny, but she's smaller. She's starstruck by them. She probably watches a lot of daytime TV. She's got a body for it.
You know, don't you? Oh, woo! I take no responsibility.
You do know what?
Bystander, but there is this one time. You missed each other by like 3 minutes.
Oh, shit.
Exciting.
They were both cheating on each other with the same guy. And she knew about it. That's some fucked up shit.
Some sort of rave thing.
So now they end up at the rave looking for this guy that they were both sleeping with at the same time, and they didn't know.
I gotta say this. The thing about Jimmy, the sex wasn't even that good. And the ear thing, well, Q-tips, it's not even necessary. I have to say this. One thing I will give the credit for is the oral was good. What do you mean? It was terrible.
So now they're sitting there talking about what they each liked and didn't like about fucking this guy.
Did I retrain throw it up? What was that? I don't know. Tozer maybe?
So Jay Moore said that the guy was great at giving head, and Scott Wolf said he was terrible. I had to retrain him. And he was, well, when was that? I don't know, somewhere around March. Oh, in March he suddenly got better. So he taught this other guy how to give his boyfriend better head. I mean, he was doing it to teach him how to give it to himself, too. That didn't come out right. Surprise! Jig up, sweetheart. Those scissors don't look like they're going to be very good at cutting hair. What? So they just cut off a little bit of his hair? That was how they got back at him? For almost ruining their relationship on purpose? So did you catch they're driving the yellow Miata?
Which one did you drive? Circleville?
So this is when we saw them driving all over hell, not making any sense. And now he's going in reverse, and boom! They are the ones who hit Rhonda. And they start screaming like a couple of 10-year-old boys after they fucking hit her. And they don't even know what to do. They're in a panic. See, we saw this from the outside perspective. Timothy Olyphant's on the outside of the car. And she was over the windshield, so he couldn't even see where he was going when he hit that curb and she flew off into the hill. Now they're fully panicked, and he's standing there with a gun. What the... They don't know what the fuck to do. fucking Miata. Actually, I have my Focus has the Miata engine in it. It's not made by Mazda Miata, but it's the same engine that they put in Miatas in that generation. Now they have to contemplate what they just did. They just accidentally hit that woman with their car, then dumped her down into a ravine and sped away. There's several issues, and there was a witness. Granted, he was holding a gun, so he's probably a less than reputable character. Maybe not prone to informing the police. Nonetheless, to boot, the weight that would put on your conscience, trying to live with this. It's one of those park your car and stare off into the distance moments, where you just really can't even do anything physically because your thoughts are just shutting your body down. And what do you, I mean, you kind of sympathize with him. Not really with the fucking dumping her down the ravine and leaving afterwards. Probably should have seen if she was okay. It was an accident. It's reckless driving, but it wasn't manslaughter. At least not intentional. Just call 911 and hang up from the fucking gas station. Ugh, there's blood and hair on the windshield. Oh, Jesus. He just picked a piece of bloody hair out of the windshield wiper. They're just at a gas station cleaning blood off their car. He's been wearing the police wire the whole time. I forgot about that. Holy shit. What the fuck? I wonder what the range is on those things, or how long they
Come on, they couldn't have been listening this whole time. Although they could have been recording everything that we have said.
How far does this signal go? I don't know, man. That seems pretty unlikely. Once that dude once the long-haired ginger packed up his shit and left with that box, I think they were done listening to what was on your wire. It actually doesn't make sense that he wouldn't have taken that, because that would be police issued equipment that they would have to be accounted for. There's that is a fair point. No body, no crime. he's trying to rearrange the shit in the trunk of the Miata to fit a body in there.
What? It's a Miata! I'll put her in the passenger seat. Well, then why would I put her in the passenger seat holding her up?
Oh, Jesus. They're going to put her in the passenger seat of the car, with one of them also in the passenger seat of the car holding her, while the other one drives to wherever the fuck to dump her body. Freeze's got to carry her up that goddamn hill. That's kind of a steep incline. That's a straight drop off, in fact. Go up on the side, man. What are you, dumb? Oh, he just dropped her. And now Scott Wolf is crying. It was easier for him to live with dumping the body down the hill than... Or maybe it's the shock is wearing off and he's just realizing what he's done. I don't know how I would live with this. It'd be hard. You just think about everything that... Everybody they knew that's now upset and sad. Everything they could have been that's no longer possible. It's a... Oh, I want a burger. Not a veggie burger, but I do want a burger. So Jay Moore is telling him that it's a scene. He's making him believe that it's fake. At least he wants him to think that it's fake or pretend it's fake so that they can fucking get through this. And he's not following along, so it's like, okay, let's just help me then. Stop being a bitch. Carry this body up here. Her short skirt and platform combat boots. Oh, she's alive, and they just dropped her on the fucking ground again. God damn. She has been abused today.
If she isn't dead, then we didn't kill her. We should just leave her here. She's almost dead if we leave her. Then she died, what was the point of coming back? You still fucking killed her.
That's a good point. Yeah, at this point, if you didn't kill her yet, but she's probably going to die if you leave her there. You either got to help her or you got to help her. Oh, or that was the other option I was going to say is you help her or you kill her. But this is cold-blooded, bro. Before it was unintentional. This is like this would be like the turn in Very Bad Things where you go from accidentally killing the stripper to intentionally killing the security guard. You've fallen into a different category psychologically. Okay, he didn't go through with it. Threw her on the hood of a BMW. All these fucking ravers are finding her now. Ambulance, bring them. The onlookers will call an ambulance. Yeah, there's still one witness, and you don't know if she saw what kind of car you were driving. Still kind of loose ends, but I guess you can just keep your fingers crossed, and maybe after like a year or so, you'll be confident that it's blown over and nothing's gonna happen. I don't know how long it would take for you to be confident that you'd be waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? You'd never be really sure you got away with it. I don't know if she's fine. She needs to be checked out by a doctor, probably. Katie Holmes, I guess, has just been dancing her ass off at this rave alone. She has no idea where anybody is. And it's morning. They were partying until the sun came up. Oh, this is why her hair looks all wet and fucked up later. She didn't know where anybody was, and she had to walk to this diner in the rain. So her hair was wet. She hadn't been dancing. I believe she's going to run into Mr. Timothy Olyphant here. Todd Gaines, the drug dealer. God damn, I really underestimated how cute she was back then. There he is. She saw him. Now she feels uncomfortable. I wonder if she thinks he killed her friends. She doesn't know what the fuck happened. No cell phones, bro. I mean, we had them back then, but there wasn't text messaging and all that other shit. And definitely most people didn't have one, I would say.
Usually meet here after that makes me sick.
This is like the era when my parents shared a cell phone, things like that. It was like an emergency thing. That's what it was considered. But you did have your business types that were on their car phones and shit handling business 24/7. That happened almost immediately. Once you gave those guys the ability to take care of business deals, not in their office while they were out doing other things, they took advantage of it right away. It became a tool for working 24 hours a day.
So what do you have against the family circus?
Okay. You sit down, Reese.
So now she's sitting down having an actual bonding moment with the drug dealer like a person.
Then there's the family fucking circus. Bottom right-hand corner, just waiting to suck. That's the last thing you read, so...
He's offering some commentary on the comics in the newspaper and how much the family circus sucks.
Not read it.
I hate it, yet I'm uncontrollably drawn to it. Are you gonna...
He hates it, but he can't fight the urge to read it. That's weird. That's an odd one. When you're drawn to things you hate. I'm trying to think if I have that for anything.
You know what I like about you? That's not your face. But I think it's...
You know what I like about you? It's not your face. Well, thanks, bitch. Don't like your face either.
Curiosity, what are you on?
I'm serious.
So am I. What are you on?
Professional curiosity. He wants to know what drug she's on so he can start dealing it. Yeah, she seems high. I mentioned that at the beginning, I think.
Surprises. I mean, it's like you get this box, and you're sure you know what's inside.
We already saw this part. They're talking about they're going to show his face while she's saying it.
But then you open it up, and it's completely different. You know, why?
I was never interested in that. Why do people want to...
It's kind of like you and me here, you know?
You enjoy the surprise of getting a gift, right? So if you sit there and shake the motherfucker and try to figure out what it is, then you open it and you're not surprised. You might be satisfied that you got the guess right. And your reaction is going to be like you knew what it was. So the person who bought it for you isn't going to have the same satisfaction of giving you something you enjoy because it's that moment. Don't ruin your fucking own surprises. Avoid looking for that kind of shit. It's a better character trait. Damn, now Katie Holmes and Timothy Olyphant are just straight up making out in the staircase. Unbuckling belts and everything. It's turned into a pretty jazzy day for her. He's out a few hits of ecstasy, but I mean, charge it to the game. Uh-oh. The fucking strip club owner and bouncer traced back to his... Oh, and he has no idea why they're there.
Simon's apartment.
Oh, he's drawing them a fucking map to Simon's apartment. I mean, shit, Simon did kind of fuck him over. He used his credit card to get a lap dance, shot the bouncer.
You just driving yourself? Yeah, pull the trigger.
Oh my god, and Simon just walked in the front door. This idiot can't catch a break. Chain of unfortunate events. Damn. Scream, Katie, scream. Oh, it's his son. It's a father-son tandem. Timothy Olyphant looks deeply disturbed by this. They're gonna shoot him in the arm as payback. He drew an X of where to shoot him. And they're just gonna watch it like a fucking Faces of Death video. He looks pretty disturbed by this, the most disturbed of anyone there. I wonder if he's ever seen somebody get shot. He looks like he hasn't. Oh my god. This is so... Oh, fuck! He's gonna shoot him at point blank range right in the arm. Oh, now he's disappointed. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he's not uneasy about it. He's excited. He's anticipating it. Don't mind. He thought he was going to be killed just a few minutes ago. Now it's going to be all sorted out. He's just got to take a bullet in the arm. Katie Holmes decides to leave. Ooh, and then you hear the shot. It's all right. I'm okay. Jesus Christ. Oh, now Rhonda just woke up in the hospital. She survived. And now she's back at the grocery store, limping her ass around, working at the cash register. All that trouble just to make rent. And guess what? That payment only gets you another month. You got to figure out how you're going to make rent pretty soon again. She looks like hell warmed over. Yeah, it doesn't appear so. Did you get your rent money?
Where's Manny?
You're a trooper, though. That bitch, hard worker. She's up and at 'em, ready to go. See? Remember I told you to remember she buried her friend in the trash? She left his ass there. I don't even know how much later this is supposed to be. Is this a couple days later? He's back there freezing his ass off like a junkie. He looks derelict as fucked. Derelict. So hot right now. Oh, man. Pretty lucky that you found your keys laying in a puddle in the parking lot. This dude has got to feel horrible. I don't know how many days he's been laying back there. But he took 2 hits of ecstasy, fried his ass off, didn't drink any water, didn't eat anything. Now he's been sitting out in the cold.
So, what are we doing for New Year's?
He seems to be fine. Not even upset that they left him buried in that fucking trash for who knows how long. And now we've got a No Doubt song to close us out. And rave scenes. Again, not... I was calling her Rhonda. It's just Rana. Maybe my pronunciation took care of it. Not a particularly profound movie. It's not a lot of, like... It's not going to win any awards. I think it's got a decent cult following. I enjoy watching it every once in a while. I hadn't seen it in a few years prior to watching it today. It's just kind of a weird thrill ride. It's not nearly as perverse or twisted as like Very Bad Things is, or movies can get it. It's a little bit lighthearted, but you get a little bit of titties, a little bit of weed, a little bit of raving, a little bit of ecstasy. All in all, so it's a decent watch. I probably would rate it like a 6.5. And that's not to mean I don't like it. That's just saying if I had to put my name on the line with a rating that I thought I could stand by that other people would agree with, I'm going to go with a 6. I think that would fall in line with the public view of the movie. Because I don't want to say, dude, it's a fucking 10. I love this movie. Just because I love a movie doesn't mean it's a 10. And if I say I love this movie, it's a 10, and you go out and watch it and it's a piece of shit, that makes my opinion less valuable to you. That makes me look bad. So I will tell you, I love this movie. I rate it a 6. So your expectation going into it is that it's a 6, not a 10. That's all I'm doing there. I appreciate you guys listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, whatever you're doing. Thanks for clicking on this video. Thanks for following along with the whole process of working on these commentaries and trying to grow this thing. Check out my reviews on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to the podcast, I will put the link for the RSS feed in the first comment below the video. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, all that good shit. Until the next time, this is Devin signing off and saying, be easy.